The following is a supplementary session recorded without the participation or knowledge of 3 out of 4 of the players of the Coward's Call campaign. To avoid spoilers, I ask that my players not watch this video until I give them explicit permission to do so. For audience members, don't worry, this video won't spoil any future events, it'll only give context for them that the other players are not supposed to learn until later. It takes place after the end of the third session and before the beginning of the fourth, and will focus on Mike's character, the dwarven cleric Thorin. An air of uneasy dread follows the party as they make their way back to the Night's Rest Inn. Reluctantly, they go their separate ways in the hall and settle in for the night, antsy to continue their investigation, but emotionally drained from the fraught proceedings of the day. The room Old Coward provided for you was perhaps unnecessary, Thorin, but you will use it tonight. Your home is nearby, you could head there to sleep, but when you think of doing so, it brings up the knowledge that there's no one waiting for you there. You sit on the unfamiliar bed and stare down at your fist, where your wife's ring is still clenched between your fingers. You are originally from the underground dwarven city of Re-Keptum, the capital of the dwarven nation that lives under the mountains of Lushel. The dwarves there revere craftsmanship and the power of the forge, and have built incredible feats of engineering and great temples to gods like Moradin, Dumathorn, Gond, and of course, Hephaestus. Was your faith something you were taught from a young age, or something you discovered later in life as you grew?
Probably would have been early, since young age.
There's no wrong answers here. You can say whatever you want. Uh, this was also where you met Gwyn, right? How did the two
Correct.
of you meet? And what was she like?
Just kind of met passing around the kingdom, caught each other's eye, I guess you could say.
Happenstance of fate?
Yes.
Hmm. Life in the Dwarven Kingdom is strict and rigid. The rules are clear, and one of them is that those who forsake the kingdom by leaving for the surface are never allowed to fully return. You knew that rule, of course you did, as it's told to every dwarf from a young age. And yet you and your wife left. What drove the two of you to leave the world you knew behind for a new one?
Partially just wanted to actually see the world, possibly learn more crafts, and then just a bit more freedom than what the Dwarven Kingdom had.
Partly wanderlust, partly feeling cramped in?
Yeah.
And so you headed off to build a new life. And speaking of building a new life, we haven't touched on your daughter much yet. Was she born above ground, or did you bring her on your journey north to find a new home?
I was above ground. Actually, once we had her when we decided to settle into Coward's Run.
Hmm. As you are lost in thought of your family, you hear a voice whispering as if into your ear, although no one is there. A feeling like a pressure in your chest, an icy weight settling over your heart and making it hard to breathe, keeps you still as you hear it speak. I am the one who killed your wife and took your child. If you ever want to see them again, stay still, stay silent, and do exactly as I say. You
With
do?
him being, with him being saying, just stay silent. I just try to mentally say back, why? Why are you doing this?
You'll find out eventually. Tell no one of this conversation. Do not try to guess my identity. I know your party is planning to head to the cemetery soon. I'll be making preparations there tonight and tomorrow morning. Ensure that your companions do not enter the graveyard until noon tomorrow. At any point after that, bring Old Coward to his family tomb in the old catacombs under the cemetery. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure he enters the chamber where his ancestors' ashes lie. I also know you plan to head to the farm at some point. While you are there, you will find an effigy in the shape of a serpent lying in the clay at the source of the spring that feeds the stream in the farmer's fields. Destroy it. Shatter it completely before your companions are able to examine it. Preferably before they see it at all, if you can. Do this, and I will reunite you with your family. And then the voice disappears, and the feeling leaves your chest.